Happy Friday. I wanted to come on and share some things from my heart that have been coming up this week. Nothing groundbreaking, but we are on the other side of the eclipse. Hopefully, you felt like you survived it and it wasn't too intense, but I know it's been intense. I've talked to so many people, and everybody's just talking about all the things that are coming up from them. But today I wanted to talk about something really vulnerable, which is when you experience a crisis of faith. If you're new to me, my name is Donnell Davis, and I'm a channel healer, and I am a transformational mentor that specializes in healing forward to become your future self now. And these last, I guess, well, with the eclipse and with the craziness of the collective, I had a moment within myself of feeling disillusioned. I'm just going to keep it so real, you guys, because everything I base my teachings on is about becoming your future self. It's about believing in what's possible and the miracles and the magic and all that. And I love that so much. And sometimes I get challenged to see how deeply embodied I am in my own teachings. And if I can have faith even when times are really challenging and difficult. And this intense season of this eclipse brought up a lot of my own limiting beliefs, energy of seeing some patterns within myself that I hadn't maybe seen before. And the truth is, the last couple of years were a big shutting. And I know we just got out of the year of the snake and all that kind of stuff, but 2024 for me was one of the most challenging, if not the most challenging year of my life. Ironically, it doesn't make sense because I had just manifested my ability to move and be with my husband and all these things, but I had to let go of so much. So last year was more of an integration year for me. It was kind of like, okay, like it's time to embrace your new life. And I got married, and there's some really amazing things that happen. But what came up these last couple of weeks for me is where I've been a little bit more crunchy and negative. Like this eternal optimist of who I am. I have a Sag stellium, you guys. I think I have like 4 or 5 placements in Sagittarius in the ninth house, mostly the ninth. Like there's one maybe in the eighth house. My son is in the eighth house, but my son, the rest are in. So if you don't know anything about Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the eternal optimist. They are the big picture. They see and they are excited about what's possible. And so I've always had that energy. But I think what happens sometimes in life is when you go through a lot of big stuff, sometimes you can kind of lose your center. And then after a while, if some things aren't working out for you, then all of a sudden you can start to develop beliefs of like, well, this maybe I'm not meant to do this, or maybe this isn't going to happen for me. And I know for instance, with my weight, I went through menopause and early menopause, and I have been working on my weight, I kid you not, since 2023. And I just got to a point where I was like, well, maybe this is what I need to accept. And mind you, I'm not like overweight. I just had some weight that I wanted to shed, especially given my paleo eating and how healthy and all these things. But the point is, as I started to lose a little bit of faith that it could actually happen and change. And that's not who I am, not at the core and nature of who I am. And miraculously, I kind of let go. And so there is a point where you just have to surrender and let go. And I wound up doing some really amazing peptides. My friend Dr. Eric Naputi has a company called BioLimitless. You can find it at biolimitless.com. And he has this thing called a master stack that is different peptides within these supplements that are absolutely incredible. If you want to learn more about that, message me. It's a side note. But I did drop some weight, and it was the first time in years. And so sometimes we think when we're diligently working on something like, oh, it's going to happen right away, and it doesn't. And then you start to have a crisis of faith, like, oh my gosh, am I just too crazy to believe that this could happen? And we forget that we are not on our own timeline. We are on God's timing. And God has a better idea and picture of when you're going to be ready for something versus what you think you know. And so I had to really release this idea and this thought of, well, if something's not working out and it's not changing, it's not because I'm doing it wrong. It's not because you're doing it wrong. It's not because I'm not supposed to have it per se, unless I'm just so out of alignment. And I couldn't see that sometimes that happens where we get out of alignment. But it was more of I started to recognize something that was permeating every aspect of my life. And it was that I was self-abandoning. It was when my dreams don't work out or something's not coming together in the timeline that I want, that I decide to criticize, blame, and jump all over myself because I'm thinking that I'm not doing enough or I'm not working. So much of creating the life that you want, you guys, is your state of consciousness. And so, yes, we have to have critical thinking and we have to look at ourselves and be willing to observe ourselves and see. But if you're coming from a deficit and lack and you're beating yourself up because something's not happening quick enough or for whatever reason, that is not going to help your situation. Period. It's not. The deeper invitation that I had to consider over these last few weeks was, if things aren't going the way that I expected, is it possible that instead of beating myself up, and then that creates a loop, right? It's like a dog chasing its tail. It's like, okay, negativity, more negativity comes in versus timeout. Like, let's take a pause and let's come back to love. What does it look like to love yourself through the challenge and the difficulty? To have your own back. And some of this is such deep ancient work, you guys, because maybe nobody ever had your back. Like maybe you were in such a survival state in your life that instead of learning how to have your own back and really love yourself, you were editing and amending who you are so that you can make your life work with whatever familial situation you found yourself in your childhood, like myself. Although I did have love, I'm not saying I didn't have love. The point being is no matter what age you are in your life, you can decide and commit to loving yourself more. And I think people get confused about what love actually looks like, because I had a client say to me this week, she's like, well, I am loving myself. Like I dance in my kitchen and I do, I'm eating healthy and I'm drinking green juice and I'm meditating every day and I'm praying. But because something didn't come together for her and she still hasn't received it, and I see this a lot in my own life with my clients, certain things take time. And so she was frustrated, and that is so normal in this. But her frustration revealed where she is conditionally loving herself. Because the moment she's triggered, the moment things aren't working out, she's frustrated and annoyed. And then I was making a joke, and I could say this about myself, is then we kind of, it's like a 3-year-old when they're wanting a popsicle or a lollipop, and then mommy won't give it to them. And they're like, but I put my toys away and I did everything you asked me. And, the mom's like, no, like, not right now. And then they just fall to the floor. And they're just like, "Ah," screaming and crying and getting upset. And it's because they don't know how to regulate their nervous system, right? But we have aspects of ourselves that want to throw a tantrum, that want to be, but why? Why can't I have what I want? Why not now? And then you start, and if you stay in that long enough, you start to have a crisis of faith. You start to feel like, well, am I just making this whole thing up? And then you add on the layer of the collective and the craziness of what's happening out there. And you might even feel like, what is all that? Where is God in that? God is not creating that, by the way. That's not God's creation. I mean, those people are doing what they want to do, using power and wealth in very disgusting ways. I don't want to get into that, but my point being that it's really easy right now to get off your block, to off your center, to be disoriented and disillusioned by some of the things that are happening. And never has there been a deeper call to figure out what lights you up in your heart and what you're going to choose to do in this life. And when you have a crisis of faith, there's a really good chance that you are deeply in the cocoon. You're in the cocoon of transformation where you're about to come out of it. And it's like that last final test of, can you really hold that frequency? Can you believe in yourself? Can you love yourself enough through this that instead of giving up, which a lot of people do, you stay the course and you decide, yes, I'm going to believe that this is possible. And so for me, I started to, I didn't have such a crisis of faith with God. I had it with myself. Because in the past, I've been able to make so many things happen, but I've changed. And I haven't changed in my ability to make things happen. I've changed in my, like the capacity and where I was coming from. I used to be in a state of survival and I would force and push things to come to be. Now I'm more grounded. I'm more relaxed in who I am. And so I don't have that like sense of like urgency to create from that place anymore. So there was this kind of changing of the guard for me of like, okay, I used to create this way and now I'm creating that way. What is this going to look like for me? And that's where maybe the self-criticism and the nagging negative voice of like, why is it like this? And I'm sharing this with you because I want you to know, even though I teach these things, and even though I live this, I have moments too where I question my own reality and what's happening. It's human to do that. And really, what it is a call for us to find more love, to choose love within ourselves, to reparent ourselves in such a way that you get what you didn't receive in your childhood. Because ultimately, this whole life that we're living, you can either be an enemy within yourself or you can love yourself and continue to believe that what you want wants you to, and that you are going to eventually get there. And so today I just share this all with you because I had to come back and make a choice and be like, you know what? I need to find the gratitude again. I need to come back to what I love. I need to figure out this and not stay in the negativity, not stay in all the gloom and doom of the collective. No way. No freaking way. So a friend of mine suggested, she read this book called Magic by Rhonda Byrne. And she was like, it's a 28-day gratitude practice. I'm on day 3. So check that book out if you want to do it. But I can tell you already, I'm starting to see a shift of just coming back to like 10 things that I'm grateful for every single day and just coming back into that space of what's beautiful. Like, where do I put my attention and focus versus just thinking of all these things that aren't working out for me in this like one specific area. It's like, not enough. And it wasn't just one specific area, by the way. It's a multitude of areas because usually if it's just one area, I can blow it off. It was a multitude of areas, which made me go, oh my gosh, why is this happening? Keeping it real, the eclipse revealed to me the places I get to love myself more. And it's because truly I want to play a big game in this life. And if I'm going to lead others more deeply into who they are, I need to lead myself more deeply into who I am. I need to love myself on deeper levels. So, wherever you may find yourself, I just want to let you know I am hosting a live experiential masterclass experience next week called Becoming Her Now. Comment Becoming. I'll send you the info. It's going to be 90 minutes. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be touching on exactly how to become your future self, how to have the life you really desire. And it's not foo-foo, like, oh my gosh, vision boards. No, it's like the deep, beautiful, exciting healing work that you get to do to become her. And I'm in it right now. I'm graduating to a new level of who I am, and I get to share that with you in real time because I've been through all these different layers of the manifestation process and healing forward and all this. And I've led thousands of clients through intuitive healing sessions and through coaching, and I know exactly what it takes. And sometimes it's not so much about like, I got to fix that pattern. Sometimes it's about returning to love and to gratitude and realizing that creates expansion because what you focus on amplifies in your life. And sometimes it's just those simple tools. But I will be sharing the deeper tools. And so, anyways, I hope you guys have a great week. I'm excited for this experiential masterclass. I want there to be live Q&A, and I'm going to be asking people questions and really involving you in the presentation. I'm just not going to teach at you because I frankly am bored of all that. You know, you can find a masterclass anywhere and just kind of plug in and just be like, okay, let me just like receive something. I want you to walk away from this shifted. That is my intention. So I will see you next week. Okay, have a great one. Take care.